its origins hatched in Slavic folklore, the mythical firebird's journey westward has only enhanced its avant lore. Finding sanctuary amid sands both timeless and perpetual, the allure of the bird's plumage radiant, eyes hypnotic, talons just, and song enchanting prove a presence magical for those who respect its powers, and a harbinger dark for those who seek to tame its flight. In tales of yore, times bygone, the firebird protects its nest, the hue of its brilliant feathers, a guiding glow of belief, of renewal, of light, of home. A narrative rooted in myth, such powers, such imaginations are today realized with a tale of light and freeze. For the firebird and those who embrace its journey, it is a tale of seasons reborn, a fable actualized by the forge of steel blade and wooden implement, a legend which grows by roar and score. It is a story of fire and ice.
Greetings, friends, and Firebirds fans, and welcome to the Desert Suns Fire and Ice podcast, presented by Desert Willow Golf Resort, coming to you from Palm Desert, California, a mere tossed teddy bear away from the Birds' home ice of Acrisure Arena. I'm your host, Judd Spicer, recording this episode, final episode of 2025 calendar year, the day after Christmas. May I add that I hope all your respective Hanukkahs were happy and all your Christmases were very merry. Fourth year, of course, of Coachella Valley Firebirds hockey, and in turn, fourth year of this program, closing out 2025 in style. Per my partner in crime for this endeavor, the Desert Sun newspaper. I'm so proud, as I've hopefully mentioned amply and avidly, so proud to align myself with an outlet that yours truly spent over a dozen years contributing to, been informing our valley since yonder 1927. Per the partnership, you can find all these episodes referenced on the desertsun.com, along with the Desert Sun spectrum of sporting socials, or just go out and get a newspaper. Go buy a Desert Sun newspaper. Per the partnership with the Desert Sun, we, of course, wrap up just about every episode. Didn't do it last time with the Media Roundtable, but we'll be renewing the Desert Shootout with our guy reporter, Andrew John. Going to close out this episode of Fire and Ice. Preceding Andrew's appearance, first-time guest. Looking forward to this one. Birds assistant coach Brennan Sonne going to be joining me momentarily. Desert Willow Golf Resort, presenting sponsor of the Desert Suns Fire and Ice podcast. Right down the street, by the way, from the Birds Barn of Acrisure Arena, just about 1.5 miles away. You know I love a good putt-to-puck segue. Go tee it up over at DW, the Mountain View or Firecliff courses, respectively, and then you skate it on down Cook, turn right on Varner, bang, you're at Acrisure Arena. Love that. Great desert day, playing at Desert Willow, and then seeing a Firebirds game at night. Per that Firecliff course, I think I've mentioned this a few times, now reopened, excellent and awesome. They do a late overseed, now reopened for business. Get those tee times online at desertwillow.com. Firecliff, by the way, charting in the top 20, best you can play in all of California by a couple of the leading golf outlets. Oh, and you're on there, by the way, poking around at desertwillow.com. Be sure to check out the excellent and on-site Palm Desert Golf Academy for all your swing instruction, lesson, tutelage needs. I'm going to be looking up my guy, Paul Busey, over there at the Palm Desert Golf Academy soon. Not just for, I know this isn't a golf show, this is a hockey show, but I've got a specific purpose, I've got a specific aim that I need some refresh and retouches in my kind of wonky golf swing. Wonky but effective, I may add. Anyway, you can find that all online at desertwillow.com. It's going to slide us right in, friends, to our Firebirds Freeze Frame segment. And as you by now, regular listeners at least, should now well know, Firebirds Freeze Frame segment is brought to you by a pair of new sponsors this season. You know, dudes, ice action isn't limited to Acrisure Arena alone. Hockey fans seeking some pregame drinks, some post-game toasts, you need only look up to the high desert where our Firebirds friends at both the 29 Palms Beer Company and the Ground Squirrel That's GRNDSQRL. They're both serving up some awesome eats and incredible beers in downtown 29 Palms. Ground Squirrel, of course, sports an awesome gastropub-style scratch-made menu. They match that with a rotating list of craft beers. Super fun, super tasty, super funky up in downtown 29 Palms. And for those looking for a potent power play, you skate it right on down the street to the 29 Palms Beer Company. They're brewing up their own phenomenal beers right on site and televising every Firebirds game, home or away. You're a desert local, you're seeking a fun new scene, or you're a desert guest, you're a valley guest, you're a snowbird, you're on vacation, you're looking to have some fun, you want to explore Joshua Tree, you want to head up to Pioneer Town, maybe you're celebrating a bird's win, perhaps drowning your sorrows after a tough loss. You lace up the hospitality at 29 Palms for the Ground Squirrel and 29 Palms Beer Company. They are proving your high desert hockey homes. All right, dudes, skate it right into this Firebirds freeze frame. Birds have been off this week. A little bit of a stumble heading into this holiday break. Dropped a pair to a pesky Bakersfield team. They're kind of gross. Don't really like that Bakersfield team. I don't know. They give us trouble. We, of course, had the Teddy Bear toss night, which was a loss, albeit an overtime loss. And then the quick turnaround, the home away, where we went to Bakersfield night subsequent, and we did fall in that game. Nonetheless, Birds 14-8-4 thus far in the season, 26 games down, 46 games to go, presently 5th in the Pacific Division. 6-3-1 though in the past 10 games. That need be noted, and a mere 4 points behind second place San Jose. 92 goals thus far in the season for the Birds. That is good for 4th in the entire Western Conference. Per the schedule, before we get to some player stats, this Saturday night, we'll see you there. Back in action at Acrisure Arena against the defending champion, albeit last place, Abbotsford Canucks. That is a 6 p.m. puck drop at the Birds Barn this Saturday, the 27th. Kind of a funky turnaround. Not sure I exactly like this after 6 days off from games. They got another back-to-back on Sunday, December 28th. Birds at Henderson. That is a 5 p.m. puck drop this Sunday. So basically, probably going to find the boys jumping on a bus right after this Abbotsford game. Or I want to say Abbotsford. I'm going to be sanguine. Abbotsford win, and then get on a bus, drive to Nevada for a 5 p.m.er at Henderson on Sunday. CV then comes back for New Year's Eve, doing this for the second season in a row. Love this. This is a blast. Last season's going to be great again this year, I have no doubt. Wednesday, December 31st, of course, final day of 2025. 5 p.m. against, yeah, you guessed it, Bakersfield. They seem to be filling our barn for all these activity nights, these theme nights. Early start. I like that. Had fun last year. Then after the game, again, sanguinely, hopefully a win. Go check out the indoor fireworks show, the largest indoor fireworks show in the Coachella Valley. They really pulled that off with some serious style last year. By the time the game is over, hey, it's still early. Then you go out. You go to your party. You go to your dinner. You still got ample time to celebrate your New Year's Eve. But start the evening with Birds versus Bakersfield next Wednesday, December 31st. Per the players, Jagger Firkins, man, continuing to have an awesome Red season for the Red Rocket. Team high, 28 points thus far into the year. He's got a team high tied, 13 goals paired with 15 assists. Those 28 points place Jagger T6 in the entire American Hockey League. By the way, those 2 games versus Bakersfield, which I mentioned, if not bemoaned, 5 points in those 2 games, including a pair of goals for Jagger. Right behind him, Logan Morrison, also with 13 goals, pairing that with 11 assists. He's got points in 4 straight. Tyson Jugnaut, the rookie, 21 points thus far in the year, 4 goals, matched with a team-high 17 assists. Those 21 points for young Tyson, recent guest on this show, if I may add, 9th among all rookies in points. He is tops among rookie defenders, and he is 3rd in the entire AHL among all defensemen with those 21 points to date. Behind Tyson, tied with 15 points apiece, I should add, J.R. Avon. I'm not sure we're going to see JR. He hasn't skated, I think, the last 3 games, been down with injury. Hopefully we see him back soon. Another recent guest on the show and having an excellent first season for Coachella Valley. Oscar Molgard. I don't know if we call him Oscar Fisker. He doesn't announce himself that way anymore in the program. So we're just going to call him Oscar Molgaard, the Dane, also with 15 points thus far into the season. Per the netminders, Nike Coco been playing some really fine hockey of late across this month of December. 9-4-2 on the year. Those 9 wins tied for 11th in the entire American League. Goals against of 3.03 and save percentage of .901. The Swede, Victor Osman, my man Joel Peterson from Ground Squirrel and 29 Palms Beer. He digs Victor Osman. He's also a Swede, as you may have gathered. Victor 5-4-2 thus far in the year. Goals against of 3.38. Save percentage of .889. All right, Firebirds friends, all that offered, all that prefaced. Let's get to this episode's conversation with guest, CV assistant coach Brennan Sonne. All right, Firebirds friends. It's one guest town of this episode of the Desert Sun's Fire and Ice podcast. That, of course, not including Andrew John of the Desert Sun. He's certainly a guest that will appear later. But in this segment, we're proud to welcome for the first time a 38-year-old native of Maple Ridge, BC. He, of course, came to the Coachella Valley Firebirds bench last year after 3 very successful seasons as head coach of the Saskatoon Blades of the WHL. Amassed a record of 136, 54, and 14. Now in his second season with your Firebirds, we welcome assistant coach Brennan Sonne to the Fire and Ice podcast. Hello, Coach.
Hey, Judd, how are you?
I'm doing well, sir. Appreciate your time amid the holiday season. We're still in the holiday season, even though Christmas is technically passed by a day. We'll get to Christmas shortly. Bear with me. Let me ask you this first, man. Did I get your name right? Because I gotta gather that both your first name and your last name over the course of your history, whether it's announced as a player, as a coach, over the PA, a lot of people have probably screwed that up.
My name is Brennan Sonne.
Okay, but how many times have you been called Brendan?
Many. I don't even hear it anymore. I kind of, when it's close enough, it's close enough. It's like autocorrect, you type on your phone and it gets it close enough and then it gets it right. That's kind of how my name is in my ear now.
So if someone calls you, if they clearly call you Brendan, you just say, "Oh, okay, good to meet you."
Yeah, it's close enough, like they're, I'm not too stuffy on that stuff.
Okay. What about for your surname? Have there been like PA announcers, whether you were playing or in your time in the WHL or the AHL, where they've called you? I'm sure there's been many mispronunciations of Sonny. I'm still not sure I got it right.
Yeah, it's pronounced Sonny. That's how we pronounce it. I've heard it Son, Sonny. I've heard it every different way, which it kind of makes sense to me. It's a Danish origin name. It's not from what I understand, and so don't quote me, but this is what I understand. I understand in Denmark it would be pronounced Sanja,
Ooh,
in that like area.
yeah.
But I'm full on Canadian. All my grandparents were born in Canada. We've been in Canada so long that over the course of time, my guess is it changed from Sanja or, in that area to what we say is in the family is Sani. And I understand it's not a common surname. And on top of that, it's not like McKinnon where it's just phonetic and you can just read it like it is. It's changed from where it was in Danish to even now. And I mean, that happens over the decades and centuries. Family names change. And since ours is a little unusual, it's not Smith or anything like that. So I get it. Like, I totally get it.
That brings up 2 points. The first of which is Denmark, ironically, the only country in the world that you seemingly have neither coached nor played in. We'll get to that momentarily. But of course, you have a Dane on your roster. Have you told this nugget to Oscar Molgaard, formerly Oscar Fisker Molgaard, or maybe he still is?
Big time. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I pulled up, some family history of mine just to kind of show them that's where the name originates. That's where, at least on that side of my family, that we come from. But you know, it, it's just like anything. Like I wouldn't consider myself Danish Canadian or a Canadian Dane or anything like that. Like I'm full on Canadian. But if that's where the lineage and the name comes from, then I shared that with Oscar right away. It's good to like, for me as a coach, I really like being open about who I am, where I come from. Because I just think in any relationship, when you're open with someone else, it allows them to be more open with you. If you're closed off and not open, then, well, then potentially they're going to be more closed off with you. So I just like to be really open with the players so that they feel more comfortable being open with me.
Per that worldliness of which I referenced and made fun of you a little bit. I mean, you have, and you and I talked about this the first time we interviewed, maybe about 15 months ago, I think, right before the start of your first season on the Birds bench. I mean, you played 149 games in the WHL, you played over 60 college games at the U of BC. We mentioned you're coaching the WHL, also coached in France. I believe you also played. I thought this was a coaching gig, but now when I look back a second time, I'll need your clarification. Did you coach or did you play in Hong Kong?
The main reason I was there was to coach, and that was the majority of my time. The playing part was more of like a once a week, almost like a men's league kind of deal. So then I'd go out and play, and for some reason they kept track of it on Elite Prospects. And so
Yes, they
people
do.
ask, "Oh, you played over there?" Well, not really. I was kind of showed up and I played D, and it was kind of a men's league, so I wouldn't call it playing. It was not. It was more drop-in hockey than anything, but they keep track of it for some reason. So.
They did keep track, and they kept track of the fact that in 30 games, I think you had 15 points. So while scoring was never necessarily your BTA in the WHL or college, and that's no slight, you're ripping it up in Hong Kong, man.
Yeah, ripping it up on the back end. Steady defense first, the points will take care of themselves.
I think you also told me about that experience that the ice rinks are typically, if not always, in shopping malls.
They were, yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Well,
Yeah.
the primary purpose for them was not hockey. It was people that go to the mall and these huge malls, and they would spend the day there. You'd go do your shopping, you go public skating, you would, you know, the one mega box, which is on the not the island part, but on the Kowloon side of Hong Kong. Like the ice rink, it's all glass on the one side, so you can see the topography of Hong Kong. Like it's just a beautiful setting. So
Lovely.
they're they're all at shopping malls, and again, it's not primarily for hockey, but we managed to sneak some sticks and pucks out there.
Reference coach the Christmas season. We're still in it, even though we're talking a day after Christmas. I think we're still in the holiday season until New Year's Day. Did you get everything you wanted for Christmas this year?
What I wanted for Christmas was to watch, because my daughter's now 2.5, so she gets it. Like at 1.5, they don't really get it. They're just trying to open wrapping paper, and like boxes are good enough for them. But at 2.5, we got to witness and be a part of just the pure joy of magic, or sorry, the pure magic of Christmas,
Sure.
the joy that she had. And so like making Santa's footprints, and the carrots being half eaten for the reindeer, and getting her up in the morning, and Santa came, and so that was what I wanted. I wanted to see it, and it was everything. It was a beautiful, beautiful little break.
That's wonderful, man. And I will empathize with that. I went to the Living Desert and the Wild Lights this week, and accompanying our party was a 6-year-old kid. And that's the reason everybody had fun. I mean, we enjoyed one another's company and some cocoa and looking at like 3 million lights they have there. But to see it through the innocence of the kids' eyes, it made it more special. It made it an experience for everybody involved.
Yeah, we did that too. So we went and got the picture with Santa at the zoo, and the lights and stuff. And that's the watching them. I think you hit the nail on the head. It brings back Christmas magic for the adult. I think there's all we go shopping and we're busy and we do this and we have to run this errand and you do all that, and then for those fleeting moments where you get to watch it from a child, it brings everything back full circle.
And pray tell, what does a 2.5-year-old girl want for Christmas?
She got a trampoline, so I was I don't. She's a 2.5, so she doesn't know all the trampoline games. So I was cracking the egg this morning. I think in the US you guys call it the popcorn, but we call it cracking the egg. So we did that. She had a bike, and right before bedtime, she was hugging the bike on the couch yesterday. So there's a she got. I mean, she got everything she wanted and more, but those were some of the big ones.
I hope and trust and believe that everything's still intact from what you and I also talked about 15 months ago, that your family, now your extended family, your in-laws, longtime residents or snowbirds of DHS, of Desert Hot Springs, they're still here. Everyone's still here. You guys enjoyed this holiday season together.
You got it. Yeah, yep. Great family time. Wonderful break. Best Christmas ever.
Wow, that's awesome to hear, man. How do you like to spend a little? You got, I think, 6 days off. Obviously, the hockey schedule is a grinding one and a near ceaseless one. How'd you like to spend some of those 6 days off? You referenced a few things, but anything else that you enjoyed?
Oh, my wife and I just went to Carlsbad, near San Diego there. We did that for like 24 hours. Um, that was more of a husband and wife thing where, just we never hang out, right? Like we never spend time together during season because every day I get home from practice or games. Um, I'm trying to hang out with my 2.5-year-old, and mom's been with her all day, and so we try and do that. So it was a nice little 24 hours getaway for us, and really the rest of it was all about um, being around the house, being really present, um, just being with my girls and family. It was very quiet in the best kind of way.
What about the boys? What about the Firebirds? 6 days away. We got a lot of young guys on this roster, a lot of rookies on this roster. Do you check in with them during this lengthy break, or do you just let them sail and sail?
No, no, no. I ain't bugging them now. Uh, During the break, no chance. I mean, they hear from us every day, and so I mean, for myself personally, I think it's a good time for them to not have to hear from me for a few days.
Nonetheless, we know the importance in your life, as you told me before, and as you intimated again, if not directly referenced, the importance of family in your life. Had Mitchell Stevens in the post-game presser. I think it was 3 games ago when the Birds had ascended to 5-1 in December before the final 2 games before the break against Bakersfield. Still a great record in December. Uh, but we talked to him a little bit about how this team is evolving, how this team is becoming closer, some more specific things that we noticed on the ice. And he used the word that this team is becoming a family. Is that how you would define this fourth version of the Firebirds?
Yeah, I really would. I can't speak for the relationships of the interdynamics of the players. From a staff perspective and from our interactions with the players, like now that myself and Lax are going into our second years, Bix has been here for a while. There's that familiarity, and that familiarity on top of a busy schedule, going through battles every single day, going through practice every single day, the ups and the downs, you just get closer. You know how each other works, and you can appreciate all the individuals for who they are. Um, so yeah, I would definitely agree with Stevie on that.
Conversely, and this is only to paint a potential contrast, I mean, basically every team that you have coached in your coaching career has been successful. But have you ever been around a bunch that didn't feel like family, that had more conflicting dynamics and personalities, and you're just like, I got to figure out a way to get these guys together?
Hmm. Yeah. I don't feel like naming the team and
Yeah, no
but
need.
you know, there's this. I'm gonna butcher this a little bit, but it goes along the lines of a third of a team is with you, a third of the team is against you, and then that middle third can go either way. And there was one team that I was coaching where it felt like it was very close to that. Um, and so that in those moments, it's really culture building and what you want as a team. So, uh, that's where you're trying to bring that middle third along with you so that the few guys that are not on board for how you want things done culturally, they stick out like a sore thumb. Um, Around here, the culture's so strong that it really a lot of the time takes care of itself. If you're not going to be fitting in or getting ingrained or enmeshed in the culture, you'll stick out like a sore thumb. So we don't really have that here.
Yeah, and we never have. And on this program, I would be completely honest if I ever observed that. But what we have always seen, probably save for one ne'er-do-well that was on the roster for about a month last year, Daniel
Ah,
Spawn. My words, not yours. I don't. You can comment on that if you want. He was here. He was awesome on the ice when he was here. Aside from that guy, you can tell when we see them walking through the corridors. You can tell by the way that the guys have played. Can see when they go up on the days together in the post game or any other media events that these players they genuinely bond. They genuinely like each other.
yeah, I would agree with that. I'm not on board with the calling out of Spronger. I didn't know where you're going,
Okay.
but
Yeah,
um,
that's me again. That's just me.
that's just you because I'm never one to call out players or anything like that. And I don't want to jump on board with that, but it does stick out when there are players that don't want to get ingrained or they want to. Yeah, it sticks out like a sore thumb when you have a very tight culture.
These players this year, I think maybe they have gelled so much, so well, so swiftly that this fourth Firebirds team in my mind, and I know a lot of the other media fellas feel this way as well, have exceeded expectations through 26 games with 46 games to play. Um, I trust that going into the Christmas break, would have liked to fully grab one of those games in Bakersfield. But hey, those pair of games, whatever. Notwithstanding, 14 wins, 14 8-4. We're in fifth place. We're only 2 points, rather 4 points behind second place. Feel like they've exceeded expectations. Been so many exciting games that we've seen in Acrisure Arena. Overtimes, comebacks, shootouts. A lot of very entertaining hockey. In your mind, through 26 games, have the Firebirds exceeded expectations?
I think when you're really young and there's a lot of turnover, sometimes I think instantly your expectations are to, oh, they're just young. Um, I think the way, and this is why I love Lax as a head coach so much. Um, the idea that, hey, we're going to get better every day. And since we're young, we should get better faster than everyone else. I loved that vision that he laid out right away. That vision of, hey, where we are today is not where we're going to be tomorrow. And it's not where we're going to be a month from now. It's not going to be where we are in April. And let's focus on that vision of where we want to get to and just do it every single day. And, based on our age, just that spin of, well, that means we should get better quicker. So, expectations are not generally something that we put on the team. We expect just plain and simple black and white to have a strong culture, and we expect to compete. All these things that we expect day in and day out um, will eventually produce the results that you're looking for. Um, so those would be our expectations that, the exact point number and things like that. That's our expectations are, hey, we're going to get better every day. We're going to compete every single day. We want to get better faster than everyone else because we're younger. So that view of it is how Lax and us have approached it, and the players have as well. So, like from a points perspective, have we exceeded expectations so far? It's hard for me to even comment on that because our view of it, our vision of it was just simply different than how many points should we have by this time. Our vision was no, we're going to get better every day. We're going to hopefully get better faster, and we're going to be extremely competitive.
Friends, you're tuning in to the Desert Suns Fire and Ice podcast presented by Desert Willow Golf Resort. My guest is Birds assistant coach Brennan Sonne. Coach Derek Laxdell, you referenced him a few times. He's going to turn the ripe age of 60 in February. Meanwhile, all the other coaches on or off the Firebirds bench, that includes yourself, Stu Bickle, whom you referenced, and our new goalie coach, Vince Stiletti, all on the right side of 40. For having the youngest team in the American Hockey League, how does that balance play out? Is it important to have some younger coaches like yourself to be able to maybe more closely relate to guys who are 19, 20, 21 years old, or does that not matter?
No, I actually don't think it really matters that much. Like people say, "Oh, I'm young at heart," or like, "Yeah, he's an old soul," or things like that. How you relate is really just your personality, and I don't know if age changes that personality very much. I mean, it changes maybe your responsibilities. Myself and Stu and that have a young family, so we're trying to balance having babies and the work and Lax is in a different phase in his life because his children are grown and things like that. But Lax is young at heart and his personality meshes well with the players regardless of the number attached to his name. Like it's just who he is and it's just his personality. So even though maybe he's older than us, and we're in different phases of life or whatever, however you want to term that, he still connects really well with the players because of his personality.
Speaking of players, I want to touch on something that might be sensitive for you. You may not want to comment on it at all. You may not be allowed to comment it at all. Coach, what right is literally when you and I are talking, one of the affiliates, the ECHL and our Kansas City Mavericks, that league is seemingly, the reports are still all over the place, but they've been going back and forth on a CBA for a long time, apparently unable to reach an agreement. So we believe that that league is going to go on strike. It is not with regularity, but on occasion that a member of the KC Mavericks does get called up to the Firebirds. Have you any comment on that strike between that union and the ECHL?
I really have nothing to say about it. It's outside of my wheelhouse. It's outside of my daily responsibilities at the rink. I really don't have much to say about it. I'm just kind of just like you probably. I'm just kind of keeping up to date on what's going on. That's about it.
Yeah, and I don't mean to put you in the spot by asking you that question, but we are talking about something that is germane to the Firebirds in a sense, and it is happening additionally in real time. Let me kind of ask a different question, but in a not dissimilar vein. The ECHL, from everything that I've been told, it's tough slogging, man. It is a tough lifestyle with a lot of long bus rides. You're not making a lot of money. And I've had a few people tell me, like, you better fight. You better be a good physical player because you're going to need to find a way. If you can't score a lot and stick out, you need to find some other way to stick out. But that's kind of the ethos of that league, trying to make it up two rungs, not just one to play in the show. What is your knowledge, impression, thought of how the ECHL generally plays and that lifestyle for players?
Well, having never coached nor played there, all I am is an outsider in
No.
hockey. That's all it is. I mean, if we were talking about, France or the Western League, I might have more insight for you, but I never played there nor did I coach there. So, I there's not a lot. I can't share any experiences with you because I don't have any experiences in that league. Um, if you're trying to, it's difficult to build a life or a home and family and all that stuff if you're not making a lot of money. I can tell you that from experience. But aside from that, I really don't have a lot to offer you in this because um, yeah, I've never been in that league, so I just don't have a lot to say.
Yeah, I guess we will all see how it plays out, including certainly not limited to those Kansas City Mavericks and the players that occasionally do get called up to the Coachella Valley Firebirds. A couple more for you today, Coach. Are you an avid reader? And I ask this because I think it was before the seasonal opener last year. I saw you in the dinner line, and I said, "Oh, something, something, opening night." And you responded, and it really caught me off guard. You responded by quoting Mark Twain. to me. I can't remember specifically what the quote was, but made me wonder, and I haven't had a chance to ask you till now. Do you read a lot?
Uh, well, I had to in university. They make you read there a lot. Um, but actually, I'm a huge podcast guy. So I don't know. I think it started when I was in a studio apartment right on a busy thoroughfare in university and right beside the fire station. So it was so loud. I always had to have like headphones in or TV really loud. So, for 15 years, I've always slept with a headphone in my ears or something really loud on. And so every night, wherever we are, if we're on the road home, even, in my normal bed, I sleep with headphones in and I always put on podcasts. So a lot of my, up-to-date information or knowledge on history or books or things that I've heard on podcasts. That's what I'm listening to every night.
Okay. Well, I hope and trust, and you can lie to me if this isn't the case, that the Fire and Ice podcast is part of that mix that you've got when you go to sleep.
Very
Even if it,
rarely, very
oh,
rarely is it sports, like almost never. It's always like history. I love Dan Carlin. I love hardcore history. I love listening to the physicists. I love listening to the biologists. Um, yeah, I love the cosmologists too, history, all that stuff. So a number of different fields, and I find some of the ones I like, and I hit them again and again. But rarely sports, believe it or not.
is this for you a nice way to get away from the ice, to get a different part of your brain going and not think about hockey for a few hours?
Yeah, I think I mean it's just how my brain is, honestly, is um I have a lot of different interests in life. And so like right, Dan Carlin just came out with his third installment of a feature on Alexander the Great. So now I'm learning about Alexander the Great, or on Lex Friedman, he had a specialist on Genghis Khan. Or I'm listening to Dennis White talk about plasma physics and you know, all this stuff is just, it's different. It's interesting because it's either I'm a dad, full on with a 2.5-year-old, or it's hockey, and I like changing it up. I don't want to just be hockey 24/7. I do have other interests, so at least in the podcast I can learn about other things.
Bummer that Connor Carrick is no longer a member of the Firebirds. I think you guys would have hit it off famously.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah, yeah, very fascinating guy and a lot of diverse interests that certainly move beyond the sheet. Let me close it out with this one, Coach. We've got the end of 2025. We're in the waning days of the year right now. Any resolution for yourself or any New Year's resolution for the Coachella Valley Firebirds?
Probably on the hockey side of things, it's been so fun to watch the guys get called up to the NHL this year and have all sorts of success. Myers scored the last game. Watching Fleury, Yanni Newman, Winterton, Melanson, all these guys going up. Oscar, when he got called up earlier and got an assist in his first game. I hope there's many more. There is so much joy that I find in watching those guys realize their dreams and have success up there. It's almost like a mini Christmas all over again. For my 2.5-year-old, it's Santa, and for me, I derive joy from watching her experience the magic, and then I derive a lot of joy watching Ben Myers score last game, or Oscar get his first point, or those guys having success. So I hope there's many more of that, and I hope it continues.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was three, it might have been four Kraken games ago where eight players in the lineup were former Firebirds, and that was a record, I believe, for a single Kraken game. And I know a lot of the media folks, we talked about that and kind of felt some weird sense of pride that we'd
Yeah,
seen all these guys come through here. And as you referenced, many of them having success in the NHL. Kind of, I think, reminded us that particular game about what this league is about in many ways, and just made us think of seeing all these guys skate at Acrisure Arena. What about that New Year's resolution for yourself? Anything in particular?
Um, I've been fairly happy with the balance I've struck this season, um, between hockey and parenthood and that. So just it feels like a blessing right now. So just continue with the happiness at home and at
Coach, so appreciative of your time. Continued success on and off the ice sheet. Here's to a great 2026 for you, your family, and the Coachella Valley Firebirds. Thank you again for jumping in today.
Thanks, Judd. Take care now.
All right, dudes, wrapping it up. This episode of the Desert Sons Fire and Ice podcast, epilogue style. We call it the Desert Shootout segment, where we work with pens, not pistols, and we welcome back Desert Sun reporter Andrew John, longtime reporter at the paper covering the Firebirds. Welcome back, Andrew. I trust and hope you and yours had a pleasant and blessed Christmas holiday.
Yeah, great to be back at it.
Excellent, man. As we are wont to do in this shootout segment, we set them up, we knock them down. 5 questions. Andrew John, we start with this. Fill in the blank. Most impressed by of late?
Oh man, there's actually quite a few to choose from, right?
Yeah.
I think you gotta go the rookie Tyson Jugnoth, right? He, of course, coming off that road trip up in Calgary, he had 2 goals and 2 assists in a game. That was kind of a little coming out party, it felt like. Then he came home to a couple games here before this little break inside Acrisure Arena, and he played really well there. Had, I think, a couple assists as well. Just a solid player. His play is kind of indicative, I think, of this rookie class and really coming of age right before our eyes. Seeing a lot of these guys really develop into guys who, as Coach Laxell says, are they no longer rookies now? Of course they are, but certainly not playing like it.
Yeah, and as mentioned earlier in the program, Tyson Jugnoth, 21 points, third among all defensemen in the American Hockey League. That kid has got some serious wiggle, some serious handle, some serious skating ability. Great choice. Move on to number 2 with Andrew John of the Desert Sun. Memorable moment of late.
Oh man, I think probably the memorable moment for me was just a couple games ago here before this break when the Firebirds were down 3-1, and it was kind of one of those moments where you really could have just mailed it in and said, we're looking forward to the break. I know as a young guy myself, I may have done that in my early 20s, but credit to these guys. The memorable moment for me was they came back, tied it up and took it to overtime. I think that was a real moment for me to see this team is really something. They got something here. And so I think that was the memorable moment for me, just because this team, it doesn't have a lot of quit in them. And that was important to see at this point in the season.
Yeah, we've looked at each other in the press row myriad times, not even halfway through the season yet, just kind of shaking our heads, scratched our heads. So many great games at the barn this year, whether it be overtime, whether it be shootouts, whether it be Birds comebacks. Seen a lot of excitement. Looking forward to what's left in the season, 46 games total. Third question, set them up in the shootout, knock them down with Andrew John. Best quote that you've heard recently, Andrew?
Man, I think one of the best quotes I got was actually when I had a chance to talk to John Hayden by myself at following a practice just a week or two ago, and he had something really good. I thought one of the things he said was despite the fact that this team is so young, they are at a point in the season where they don't have there's no built-in excuses with this group. I think last year there may have been, right? It's like, oh, well, we got a first-year coach and we got this young group. John Hayden, I don't remember the exact quote, but he said there are no excuses, to something to that extent. Because I kind of was giving them an excuse. Maybe you know, here, you guys may have blown this one, or didn't finish this one the way you wanted to. And he's like, hey, man, there's no excuses with this group. We own everything. So despite the youth, despite the injuries they've had a few guys out. They've had a few guys up with the fire with the Kraken. He said there's no excuse. So anyway, long story short, I thought that was a great quote.
Move on to question, and that is a great quote, by the way. Question 4 of 5 in the Desert Shootout with the Desert Suns. Andrew John, biggest concern for the Firebirds right now?
I think one of the biggest concerns for me is their penalty kill has been okay. It's not been terrible, but I think one thing we've noticed in the last couple of games, at least, is that the penalties have been a little high. I think they need to tighten that up a little bit, because constantly being on the penalty kill is no way to win games. So I don't know if that's a lingering problem that has been around for weeks, but we've definitely noticed that as of late in the recent home games. And I think they need to tighten that up. And I think once they do that, they're going to keep cruising, because I think that's playing with the man disadvantage, I think, is something that no team wants to face routinely.
Yeah, bring up a great point there, and I agree with you. Do we know if sometimes it's just a numbers game when it comes to the special teams and with the kill? We've had a lot of penalties. We've had a couple of games where we've surpassed double digits in December penalty wise. You have many penalties, eventually the other team is going to score. You bring up a great point on that concern. We round it out with this one in the Desert Shootout with Andrew John of the Desert Sun. We call it What's Cracking? Had some guys called up recently. Who's the next one to go up to the big club in Seattle, Andrew?
I said this before, I think, on this segment, but I think Jagger Fergus is due. He's a guy who's just you go back to what you had asked me earlier about who's playing really well. I think Fergus is just playing so well. He's got the mentality of a veteran too. You talk to him and he doesn't feel like a young guy. He feels like a guy who's playing with a ton of confidence. You see the results in the box scores. He's making big plays in big moments. He's a guy who I just think is ready for a shot, and I would not be surprised if he's the next one to get that.
I'd have to agree with you. And you have offered that before, and there's some prescience in that, because when you offered it, it wasn't exactly when he was in the top 10. Wasn't surging as he is right now necessarily. Tied for 6th in the entire American Hockey League. Tied for the team lead in goals with Logan Morrison with 13. I think sooner perhaps than later, we're going to see Jagger Fergus, Red Rocket, get his shot with the Kraken. Andrew, the Desert Shootout, where everybody wins, nobody loses. Thank you so much for joining, man. Enjoy these waning hours of 2025. I will see you Saturday night at the Birds Barn of Acrisure Arena for a battle with defending AHL champion Abbotsford Canucks.
All right. Thanks, Jed.
All right, Firebirds flock. It's going to wrap it up for another episode of the Desert Suns Fire and Ice podcast, presented by Desert Willow Golf Resort. So appreciative of your time, your interest, your ears, your ongoing support of this endeavor. And may I wish you all a pleasant, blessed, bountiful close to 2025 and a great year ahead for all of our gentle listeners and, of course, the Coachella Valley Firebirds. My partner in crime, the Desert Sun newspaper. You can find all their awesome Firebirds coverage online at desertsun.com. Thank you to Andrew John of the Desert Sun for joining me in this episode's Desert Shootout segment. Equal appreciation goes to guest Brennan Sonne, CV Firebirds assistant coach. Desert Willow Golf Resort, also right here in sunny Palm Desert, California. Home to the Mountain View and Fire Cliff courses, just a mere 1.5 miles away, from the Birds' home ice of Acrisure Arena. Make it a great putt-to-putt day. Go tee it up over at DW and skate it right on down the street. Well, a couple streets, actually. Cook to Varner. Bang, right there. I love that. A great desert day. Great desert segue. Playing golf at Desert Willow. and then go to check out a Coachella Valley Firebirds home game at Acrisure Arena. Get those tee times online at desertwillow.com. When you're on there poking around, be certain to check out the excellent and on-site Palm Desert Golf Academy. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. We'll catch you at Acrisure this Saturday night, 6 p.m. puck drop. Birds hosting the Abbotsford Canucks, defending champions and currently in last place. And then we'll see you again next Wednesday night, New Year's Eve. Should be a good show. 5 p.m. start versus Bakerfield, followed by the Coachella Valley's own indoor, Coachella Valley's only, I want to say, indoor fireworks show for New Year's Eve. Thanks again for everybody for tuning in. Happy New Year to all, and be well.